Good morning, everyone. So great to be back here in this beautiful group to talk about minerals, some key minerals that support and optimize our immunity. So let's get stuck into it because I'm going to make this as short as possible today. So the two minerals that I'm really focused on today, and I'm going to talk about other nutrients in future podcasts or Facebook Lives that are important for supporting or optimizing immunity. But today I really want to talk about zinc and selenium. These two particular minerals are essential to get tested, not just for optimizing immunity, but for many other things to do with our health and optimal wellness. So let's get started with talking about zinc. It's been made very popular, and you've probably heard me talk about zinc before and how important it is for our immunity. But it's a key mineral for supporting and optimizing immunity. Now, there's some tricky things about zinc. It has got a little partnership with copper, so we need to not only test our zinc to know whether we're deficient, whether we've got too much, but also when testing zinc, we want to test our copper. Now, there are two ways I recommend testing zinc. One is through a blood test, and of course, we're going to test zinc and copper at the same time in the one blood test. The other one is through hair tissue mineral testing. Now, I'll post a link where you can actually order this test if you want to do your own self-treatment, check in on these things. So you can order this test. It's all done via mail. It's very easy to do. It's non-invasive. And this test also gives you a good basis or foundation for our other minerals, and it tells you things like, are you absorbing enough out of your food? Are you consuming enough? All these sorts of things. But just talking about zinc at the moment, it can be tested in both tissue and circulating through blood. So they're quite different test results, but they need to be compared and made sense of in relation to immunity. So that's one of the key minerals for optimizing your immune system. And of course, that's how we can measure it. Now, zinc plays many other roles apart from immunity, but some of the key factors it plays in the immune system is in the development and function of neutrophils and natural killer cells. So it really focuses in on that aspect of immunity. It also supports macrophage function. So that's, optimizing that is totally reliant on having optimal levels of zinc. And it also plays a role in phagocytosis, intracellular killing, and so it plays a role in not only looking at viruses and attacking those viruses, bacterial overgrowths and keeping them in check, but we also know that in states of zinc deficiency, individuals are more open to infection and pathogens. So really important that we know ongoing what our zinc levels are, not just randomly taking zinc. And of course, at another session, I'll talk about different types of zinc and what their functions are, etc. So we know that things can compromise our zinc levels. So we can have reduced zinc levels when we're drinking alcohol, when we're taking or on pharmaceutical medications. If we've got too much stress, it can compromise our zinc levels. Also, eating cereals because they've got a naturally occurring binder called phytase that bind to zinc and carry it out of the body. So there's plenty of everyday things that can compromise our zinc levels. So thus it's worthwhile, even if you don't have a problem with your immune system, to check in on your zinc levels, because who doesn't have a glass of wine occasionally? Who isn't eating grains? Not many. And who isn't under stress? Even I experienced stress. Just getting online today was a bit stressful. So that all depletes our zinc levels. So remembering that zinc has an antagonistic effect with copper and copper with zinc. So we want to test both of those as well. Now, zinc absorption can be affected by the microbiome, as in addition. So I'll talk about that separately, but certainly 2 tests that you may want to consider that are functional in addition to blood tests are hair tissue mineral testing and your microbiome test. So again, I'll put the link where you can order those yourself, or you can speak to your practitioner. Someone like myself, a naturopath, can refer you for the appropriate tests. So zinc can be helpful for a lot of things apart from immune system. It can support us and reduce the severity and our ability to develop cancer, protects and reduces virus length and severity, reduces the incidence of overall infections, and reduces the incidence of severity of age-related macular degeneration. So that's in our eyes. Supports healthy wound healing. And in little kids, not only does it support their immunity and many other things, but also the healthy growth of children. So very important as well. Now here's some tips when supplementing. Separate your zinc from your iron supplementation and, of course, copper supplements. Check your zinc and copper levels prior to supplementing. And lysine is a helpful cofactor if you're having trouble getting your zinc levels up to optimal. Now let's talk about dietary sources. Oysters, prawns, crabs, mussels, shellfish, all those beautiful foods that I just adore, and you may too. Now definitely we want wild caught and local where possible. Red meat is a great source of zinc, so we want organic and free range. Poultry, the same. Great source of zinc. We want free range and organic. Now here's a paradox. Whole grains are also a source of zinc. So we can treat them to reduce the effect of the phytates by pre-soaking and sprouting. So there's some things to consider when consuming some of those whole grains. Legumes, the same, a little bit paradoxical there, but when treated appropriately, and I may talk about how to actually use these foods and prepare them appropriately so they actually contribute to our nutritional levels, not detract from our nutritional levels. So I'll talk to you about those in future Facebook Lives. Eggs, brilliant source. I love eggs. They're what I call healthy fast food. You can prepare them in advance. They're great snacks, really good levels of vitamin B, lots of different things. Now, dark chocolate's also a great source of zinc and magnesium, but caution on chocolate because you've got to select the right type, high percentage of the actual chocolate or cacao, and some chocolates, or most, contain benzoic acid, which may have a negative effect on some sensitive individuals. Now, some other cautions. Some zinc supplements, different types and forms of zinc, can irritate some people depending on your gut health. So if you're finding that you do get irritation in your stomach or your mouth, you may need to speak further with your nutritionist or naturopath about that to find the right type of zinc that fits with both your biochemistry and your sensitivities. Long-term high zinc supplementation can affect copper levels, so you want to monitor your levels of both copper and zinc. And zinc supplements can potentially have interaction with some pharmaceuticals. So again, check with your practitioner if you're on pharmaceuticals, which ones the zinc supplementation can help, how far to separate them, and of course we don't want to negate the effectiveness of your pharmaceuticals. If you're allergic to zinc, obviously avoid. Excess zinc levels can cause symptoms that reduce your immune function, so we don't want high or low levels, and again, best to monitor by testing. If you're pregnant, check with your practitioner if zinc is appropriate for you. So today's short and sweet. I'm going to push on with selenium. This is another mineral that we can check with hair tissue mineral testing and is affected via its absorption with the microbiome, so you can check your microbiome, and can be tested in a blood test, but remembering blood testing is only going to be telling you what your circulating levels are. It doesn't tell you what your absolute stores are. So be aware of that, and you might need to do a couple of or a few different types of testing there. Selenium is classified as an antioxidant, so we don't often talk about it in relation to immunity. But I've got to tell you, it's a key factor for an optimal immune system. It plays an important role in reducing inflammation. So if you think about viruses that create inflammation, things like cytokine storms, selenium is imperative for that, and imperative for reducing the inflammatory process and reducing the length that you might be exposed to that inflammatory process. But it also plays a role in regulating the immune response. So it's helpful in autoimmune conditions where the immune system's over-responding, and also low immune function. So to optimize it, again, we want it at a sweet spot. So we know that selenium deficit individuals may have compromised immune response to viruses, allergens. So if you find that you've got allergic responses, you may want to check in on your selenium levels. It's often forgotten. And for optimal immunity, we want optimal selenium levels. The antiviral immune action of selenium is really interesting in today's virus prone areas. So selenium supplementation can prevent the virus genetic RNA ability to change and adapt. So this is when we hear about, oh, there's a new strain of a virus, or it's adapted and now is slightly different. So selenium can be really helpful when viruses are changing rapidly, especially when they're quite virulent. So having optimized selenium levels can help reduce the virus's ability to change and adapt and alter its genetic code. So this then has a knock-on effect by reducing the virulence of the RNA type viruses, as in the case of some influenzas. Selenium is a little bit selective when we're talking about pathogenic bacteria, and it's also selective with parasites and fungi. So it's always best prescribed specifically for that particular pathogenic infection. So as an example, it's helpful in Candida albicans infection. So if you've got compromised immune system and you've had Candida overtake you systemically or localized, whether orally, vaginally, or in the gut, Candida can be negatively affected by selenium. So talk to your practitioner about whether selenium is right for you in that particular case. However, individuals that have less than optimal levels of selenium have been shown to be more susceptible to that particular fungi, but it may not be. Selenium is helpful in other types of fungi. So again, check in with your practitioner. And in contrast, selenium levels and supplementation may not be helpful, for instance, in Salmonella or Staphylococcus, but in contrast, selenium supplementation and or optimal levels of selenium has been shown to be helpful in supporting healthy antibody response against some pathogens such as parasites. Selenium also plays a protective role in multiple cancers via its antioxidant action. So again, we go, why wouldn't we think about selenium? But getting selenium to a positive level, a helpful level, and having it fit with your particular health picture is what's really important. When I'm thinking about modern day viruses, I'm thinking about the virulence of them, how they can change, and selenium can be really helpful in some of those viruses. Now, some cautions. Monitor your dose of and selection of dose of selenium, especially if you have allergic asthma conditions. So if selenium levels were originally low and you're positive for allergic asthma, you may need to check in with your naturopath or nutritionist whether selenium is right for you and also what the choice is of dose. Some tips: supplementation with vitamin E has a synergistic effect with selenium. So this is where you might find that selenium alone isn't helping and you may need either an added separate vitamin E or you might want to go for a multi that's got both. So there are a couple of minerals that you can test with hair tissue mineral testing. I often use this to get a foundation level of nutritional deficits and healthy, just establish, do we have a healthy level of some of our minerals across the board. But in particular, you can test that with children because it's non-invasive, it's really easy to do. And it can all be done via mail. So even if you're in lockdown or you're busy or you're isolated, you're in a rural community, it's something that you can actually test on. So I'll post the link to that in our new store, that we've got lots of testing available that you can order yourself. Of course, keep in mind, if you order it yourself, you've got to analyze it yourself. So if you do want someone like myself to analyze it and develop a treatment protocol, best to actually reach out direct to us. But in the short term, feel free to check in on those levels. Of course, you can do a blood test, and in the links, there will be links to actually take yourself off to a local pathology lab if you want to test your blood. And again, if you're not sure whether that's right for you, check in with us, or if you need something more comprehensive with testing, again, check in with us. So I'll post all those links below. Today, I wanted to keep it short and sweet because I know we're all busy. Apologies for running late today, but I hope that was enough information to get you started, inspire you to check in, get to know your health, and know where your levels are so you can then make mindful decisions on your health and wellness. Any questions, please feel free to post this in the comments below. I'll be checking in during the day to respond to anything there. But if you do feel that you've got a compromised immune system and you want some individualized treatment, again, just reach out and we'll get you scheduled so we can have a close look at your health and wellness. I'm going to be talking more about the immune system and some of the other nutrients that we can check in on, how to check in on them, food sources. Oh, and I forgot to talk about our food sources. So before I go, I do want to talk specifically about food sources of selenium because there's a few old-fashioned myths about selenium. So what I might do, so we don't go too far over time, is I'll post some food sources in the comments below. But I'm going to leave you on this note. Traditionally, in naturopathic medicine, when we've seen low selenium levels, we would suggest eating, some Brazil nuts. Unfortunately, research has shown us that Brazil nuts are not a reliable source of selenium. So if you're consuming lots of Brazil nuts thinking that you're adjusting your selenium levels, please double check on those selenium levels. Check in, test them, because they may be either at a toxic level if you're consuming Brazil nuts that are too high in selenium, or you may not be getting any selenium at all. So it's something that we've discovered through research that we can't rely on anymore. And I do suggest choosing a supplement if your selenium levels are low. But I will post some food sources in the comments for selenium as well. And any questions, just drop in, and look forward to chatting to you all again soon. Take care of your immune system out there. Have a great day, and look forward to speaking to you in the comments section. Bye for now.